homeowners, it's not a question of if, but when the next hurricane will come. No matter what Florida weather has in store, StormSmart has products that protect every opening of your home while improving the look, feel, and function. From durable aluminum shutters, high-impact windows and doors, to our innovative storm catcher screens, products that enhance the beauty of your home and keep your family safe. Because smart is complete hurricane protection, and smart is peace of mind. Call StormSmart today for your free in-home consultation.
When your power goes out, remember just how inconvenient your life can be. No lights, no refrigeration, no heating or cooling, no electronics. But with a Generac home standby generator, you'll have power when you need it. Our Generac generators automatically provide backup power after sensing a power outage, so your life goes on uninterrupted. Get a free 10-year warranty with the purchase of any air-cooled generator. Call Generac Generators today. Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Got some clouds out there, even a couple of sprinkles as another front rolls through the area. Most of us wake up to sunshine and then very warm temperatures in the afternoon. Our temperatures, they're going up and they're staying up. Really nice forecast, especially if you're planning on going to the beach or the pool. Rain chances very slim. Another beautiful day in store. It's going to bring us a very high chance of storms. Some isolated showers across the area. Mother Nature likes to remind us that it isn't set by a calendar. We're always on it for you just in case things begin to pop.
Streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A. This is Dennis Phillips Live. Sponsored by StormSmart. Protect every opening of your home with StormSmart. And by Generac Generators. Life is primitive without power.
Well, that was very weird, but it is working now as we are streaming on Facebook. So, yeah. Oh, look, Cruz Mike is here. Oh, man, we got stuff to talk about. So, yeah, we were okay on streaming. And for whatever reason, I was getting an error over here on Facebook. It was saying, please try again later. So that left me kind of like, well, let's start over and see if it works. So anyway, how you guys doing? It is a Tuesday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. This is the time of the year when, from a weather perspective, in terms of forecasting, there ain't a lot going on. Look, we are going to be sunny. We do have a front coming in tonight. It's going to be around tomorrow morning. We're not going to get any rain out of it. I don't expect we're going to see any rain over the next 10 days. And I am going to talk a little bit about today. I was involved with a Florida Association of Broadcasters had a hurricane seminar, and there were a lot of Mets from all over the state, ones I had never met before. I knew of them. Matt in Fort Myers. I've followed Matt for a long time. Certainly know we've talked, but never in person. Tall guy, like I'm 6'1", or 6 foot rather, and Matt had to be easily 6'2", 6'3". And we had several people from Orlando here as well. Brooks, who used to work over at Channel 8, and Noah, who I believe works with Brooks at Channel 35, I believe. I believe a Penn Stater. I followed him on Facebook. But yeah, lots of folks, and we had a seminar, kind of a panel discussion with Paul got over at 13. Brooks was in it, I was in it, and I met from West Palm as well. So we kind of covered both coasts, if you will, the Atlantic and the Gulf. And a lot of the conversation was about messaging. And that's something that I kind of want to get into a little bit tonight, and I'll look for your comments on this as well, because, you know, how messages get to you and how you interpret them. And when we're talking about messages, you know, we're talking about obviously severe weather more than anything. A lot of the meteorologists from the National Weather Service was there. Redhead Jen, who we know here for years and years, who's been on our show many times, was there. And, you know, I think the one thing that we tried to get out of this, and to me, I had a couple of points, but one of which was, remember last year when Helene came? And we were getting all the surge forecasts. And, you know, you would see a surge of 8 to 12 feet or 10 to 12 feet in some areas or whatever. And that was something that I still think is kind of a misleading forecast, because by definition, when the Hurricane Center gives an official surge forecast, they are giving a forecast which is, quote, the most reasonable worst case scenario. And you've heard me talk about this a lot. But when someone turns on TV or sees on social media 8 to 12 or 10 to 12 or whatever it is, I think they think to themselves, all right, well, that's what the forecast is. It's going to be 8 to 12 or 10 to 12 or 6 to 8. And realistically, that is not really the forecast. Again, and I think this is a gray area and one that needs to be addressed with how we message. Because look, I get why the Hurricane Center does what they do. They want everybody to be prepared for the worst possible scenario. Totally get that. And that makes sense. They want people to know how bad it could be, and then they can evacuate or not evacuate according to what it is that they see. But you know, that can be a little bit tricky, because if people don't listen, and a lot of people don't, they'll just look at the numbers or look at the graphic or see it on social, and they'll see 8 to 12 and they think, oh, it's 8 to 12. When in reality, 5 or 6 might be more realistic. And that was kind of the forecast with Helene, because there were some areas that were looking 10 to 12 foot surge. We ended up with a surge of about 7 or 8, which is 6 to 8 in many cases, which is pretty much exactly what we were saying if you were listening. But I get it, how that can be confusing, because if you're just sitting there watching and not really paying attention to what I'm saying or what anyone else is saying, or looking on social media at the graphics, and you say, oh boy, it's 8 to 12. And then when you don't get 8 to 12, you get 6. And then you're like, well, wait a minute, they said 8 to 12, we're not going to believe what they're going to say. So I really think that is something that needs to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. Whether we need to do a better job. Look, I don't think the Hurricane Center is going to change what they do. I think their forecast is going to be presented as their forecast is presented. And I understand why they do what they do. They're giving you the worst, so you know what the worst can be, so you can make a life or death decision based on that number. And I totally understand that. But I think you also have to understand how that can be confusing when you see 8 to 12, but the forecast really is 6 or 7, you know? How many times do we get the worst case scenario? I would argue less than 50% of the time. But again, their goal is to try to keep it so you understand what the worst could be. So it is kind of tricky. So that's something that we talked about today. You know, we talked about social media and all of those things. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, that to me, that is the one thing that I'm concerned about. I mean, I think at the end of the day, we want people to be ready for the worst. And if they're ready for the worst and they don't get the worst, the Hurricane Center is okay with that. I kind of believe that. They're like, all right, well, we told you the worst could be 8 to 12, but you got 6, so you should be happy. That's, well, you know what I'm saying, less than what the worst could have been. But I argue, are you minimizing credibility, and are people then looking at that, well, if they're going to say this and it's not going to be that, then they're wrong, you know, and I'm not going to believe them anymore. So it really, I think it's a slippery slope. I really, really do. Anyway, we got some weather to talk about. Mike is here again. Cruise Mike from Fayetteville is on right now. I still get people coming up to me. Hey, who's that Cruise guy? That guy looks just like you. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's a true story. Didn't know who I was, not from this area. People were coming up to him on his cruise out of Port Canaveral, not even out of Tampa, out of Port Canaveral, saying, you look like kind of like the weather guy. He's like, I don't know who those weather guys you're talking about, but he's trying to send me pictures, and it was pretty funny. Anyway, Cheryl, how you doing? Nice to see you. Cheryl in Ruskin. Cindy, good to see you as well, from Crystal River, now from Beverly Hills. Nancy, good to see you. My daughter Ryan, you guys know, she is so comfortable in front of the camera. She has no fear at all. I mean, it's just like, this is just like talking to her best friend kind of thing. So I always enjoy having her on there, because she definitely likes the spotlight. Debbie in Riverview, also Debbie with a beautiful weekend in store. Gorgeous day in St. Pete, so says Alex. Nancy Lynn, good to see you. Debbie in Bradenton. Bob in Brooksville. Hudson's in the house with Joanne. Nice to see you, John from Eaton Park, Florida. Marianne from Clearwater. We've got Sue Sue's just saying, hey, howdy, Dennis. Clearwater's in the house with Sheila. Oh, and by the way, Mike, my buddy Mike from Mike's Weather Page was also at the, Mike actually had a presentation on his own talking about digital. I had to get back to work, so I couldn't make it. But it was an interesting, I actually need to talk to him and see how it went. Because messaging, I think, is the key. We can forecast whatever we forecast, but unless you guys understand how that forecast will relate to you, how it can or won't impact you, is huge. I mean, I think, you know, and there was the talk, hey, what's the point of putting a 240-hour model out there 10 days out when it's going to be wrong? And this is the discussion we've had a lot. I've had this discussion with Mike. You know, Mike likes to throw out the long-range forecast, and he does. And there's some people who appreciate that, and there's others who don't. I know there's a lot of Mets who aren't as appreciative of it because we think it can lead to confusion, because somebody will see that and they might think that that's the forecast for in 10 days when it really isn't. But my point nowadays is, look, it's all out there. Whether you like it or not, somebody is going to share those maps. They just are. And it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse because you're going to have more people doing it. So as we've said all along, look, my point is you find a trusted source, whoever that may be, and really focus in on that particular team or that individual, whatever the case may be. And, you know, everybody's going to look at other stuff, but I just think that's an important thing because it can be confusing otherwise. Michael in Amish County, Lancaster. How you doing, Michael? Good to see you as always. Stephen in Clearwater. Nice to see you. Thank you, Marie. Appreciate it. Celia in St. Pete. Getting ready for summer until Thanksgiving. Yeah, you're correct. Let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the maps here. And actually, you know what? Yeah, okay. I'll show the forecast maps, and then kind of we go from there. Stars go to Children's Miracle Network, Jameson. All right. So people are saying, hey, did Mike get free drinks? I don't know, Michael. Michael, did anybody buy you a free drink because you thought it was me? They thought it was me? It's a good question. There's the radar. So we do have a front coming in later on tonight. That we do. Temperatures right now in the mid to upper 70s across the entire area. Pinellas County, low to mid 70s. Pinellas Park, 73 right now. Indian Rock, 72. East Lake Woodland, 72. Carrollwood, 73. Riverview, 73. Jewel, as Ryan is, I mean, she looks at you guys as a billion aunts and uncles. I mean, she is just not the least bit shy. She loves this group. 79 in Inverness, 85 today in Avon Park and Sebring, 80 in Sarasota. St. Pete hit 76. Outside right now, Tampa, mostly sunny and 76 degrees. Look at the winds, pretty gusty out there. And behind the front that comes through overnight, we're going to see windy weather again tomorrow. Still going to be a warm day. I think tomorrow evening or tomorrow night might be the last of any type of cool air, and it won't even really be that cool. Today we hit 80. The average is 83, so we were still 3 degrees below average. Barb in Spring Hill, how you doing? Michael in Merritt Island, good to see you. Sherry in Palm Harbor, as always. The morning low, exactly as it's supposed to be, we dropped down to 65. So there's the satellite, all's quiet. But if you look at Futurecast, you will begin to see some of those clouds roll in overnight. And there they are. No rain with it at all, partly cloudy skies. Melissa, hi to you. Melissa Harston Shy. So once the front comes through tomorrow morning, the winds will pick up a little bit. It's going to be a really nice day with lots of sunshine, and we will see no rain out of it. But Thursday morning, it is going to get a little bit cool out there. Stacy in Dade City, good to see you. Oh, boy, looks like we have a spammer. Yes, we do. Oh, you know what that means. Tasha. Tasha is spamming, so you know what that means, folks. You and I both. I go to Tasha, banned from all live streams. Ready? confirm, gone. Tasha is gone. I hear Tasha, I think of Tasha Yard, Star Trek Next Generation, which was my, Tasha died tragically from this goo guy. But anyway, I digress. Let's go back after banning Tasha. Oh, Tasha. Tasha. All right. So, look at your comments. It always wakes you guys up. Whenever we got banning, we always end up seeing all the all the laughter, and it does. It just makes me laugh. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me laugh. Anyway, all right. So let's keep going. Futurecast after tomorrow, once the front comes through, it is going to be just, hot. No way around it. The heat will be on. Significantly, the heat will be on. So tomorrow morning, it's actually going to be a relatively comfortable start to the day in the mid-60s. I mean, warm, really, if you think about it. I mean, we're going to go West Chase 64, South Tampa 67, Oldsmar 64, 62 Pebble Creek. So we will go mid to upper 50s in our northern counties, but I mean, it's not going to be a huge thing. I mean, I do think we're going to see, Thursday morning will probably end up being the coolest morning we will see for, I don't know, weeks, possibly. I mean, literally weeks. I think we're in it. After tomorrow, I do think we are in it. So there's a look at your forecast temps for tomorrow morning. Inland areas, Lakeland 63, Bartow 63, Northport 63, Sarasota 67, Venice 68. Rainfall, nothing. Again, guys, you know as well as I do, this is the time of the year when there ain't a lot of weather. There's just not. It'll be sunny, it'll be hot. We'll be talking about brush fires and drought conditions. That's going to be our forecast through the first week in June. So you saw rain, no, and look at the forecast for temperatures. I mean, there it is. I mean, right? Look at it. There it is. I'll let you see it close up. That's just it. Easter Sunday, sunny and 90. Good Friday, sunny and 91. And I just don't see any rain at all. And I'll show you the long-range Euro and GFS in just a second. For the boaters, north winds 15 to 20 knots, seas 3 to 5 feet, moderate chop on the bay. Water temperature at 74 degrees. Linda, how you doing? Good to see you. Michael's talking about central Pennsylvania. Every time I hear central Pennsylvania, it reminds me of Groundhog Day, but he says western Pennsylvania. Although central PA is where I went to college at Penn State. 7:04, your sunrise. 7:56, your sunset. There's the beach forecast. Great beach weather. If you're going to the beach over the holiday weekend, it is going to be spectacular. I'm looking at all your comments now, and I see the band Tasha. So you guys saw Tasha before I did, but finally, I did see her. I use that term loosely. A lot of sunshine at the beach. Great beach weekend. And there is Florida's most accurate 7-day. Tasha is out, Cindy. Yep, Bridget, bye-bye. 81, the high tomorrow and Thursday. A little breezier tomorrow. Thursday morning, it'll be a touch cooler. Just a touch. Friday, 87 to 90. Inland areas will be at 90. And then for Ryan Anderson, not Ryan, my daughter, Ryan. There's the Easter bunny that I put in there on Sunday. 90 and sunny on Easter. And it's going to stay just as warm and just as clear right through the period. So let's go ahead and look at some of the long-range forecasts. Is it Aggie? Yeah, Aggie in Gulf Harbor. It's good to see you. Sylvia in Auburndale, nice to see you. We are preheating, Kelly. That is correct. So here's a look at the Euro, okay? And this takes us through tomorrow. There's the front as it comes through, very little with it. Sean would be looking for the 540 line as if he was here, and that 540 line, the rain snow line, the freezing line, is across northern North Carolina. So Cruise Mike, you're actually going to be near that freezing line for you, but not for us. So there's Thursday. Now I want you to look at this area of high pressure, because this high is going to stay anchored over there for the foreseeable future. As long as that high is there, we don't see any fronts come this way. Look at the high building in. This is on Easter Sunday. You do have some storms across the plains, but look what happens. You got this high right here, and it blocks anything from coming in. So look at where it goes. It lifts northeast, and the trailing front just kind of fizzles out. See it? There's Monday. There's Tuesday. It just kind of dies out. And as long as that high sits there, all the rain and all the weather stays north of us. And that takes us through next weekend with not a drop of rain. Matter of fact, that takes us 2 weeks out without a drop of rain with the Euro. Here's the GFS. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Easter Sunday, some snow in the Rockies. There's the storm, same thing. But look at what happens to it. It bumps into that ridge. Now, the GFS looks like it's a little bit weaker with the ridge, and the rain gets a little bit farther south. So we will see if that happens. The Euro says no. The GFS says yes early next week. So time will tell on that. But Michael, you're right. I mean, it is fire season. It absolutely is. And unfortunately, drought and fire conditions are going to remain a thing. And going to remain a thing through the first part of June, more than likely. All right, so then the GFS takes us through next weekend. Maybe a little bit of moisture coming in, but guys, we are not going to be seeing much rain. It's just the way it is. And it's going to be like this for 6 weeks, and our drought conditions will be significant. Let me call up a drought map. I actually have not called this up yet. I've not even really looked at it for a while, but I guess I'm going to have to start to see if I can find it. I am the worst person. You've seen my email. I mean, my emails. I've got like 500,000 unread. I'm not exaggerating either. 500,000 unread emails. Well, my PowerPoint started the same way. All right, so here's the drought numbers. And yeah, we're abnormally dry in the yellow area. We have a moderate drought in the light orange area. And we have a severe drought for northern Pasco, Hernando, and Citrus. And it's only going to get worse. There's just no way around it. It's only going to get worse. So that's kind of where, and these are updated every Thursday, by the way. So there's absolutely zero doubt in my mind that we are going to be dealing with this for 2 months. You know, historically, the second week in June is when the rainy season starts. Sometimes a little earlier, sometimes it's later, but you know, typically that's when we see it. We are going into more of a neutral ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation from a La Nina. There's been a lot of talk about hurricane season starting a little earlier in the Gulf and the Caribbean. Every now and again, you can see a beneficial tropical storm that can dump some decent rains and bust a drought in our area. You've heard of folks busting a move? Well, we bust a drought with these little tropical systems. There's nothing out there now, but quite often in May and in June, you see rather weak tropical systems. How weak, you ask? Well, here, let me show you. The normal track in the month of June of tropical systems are located right there. Normally, and we're talking the overwhelming majority of the time, they are weak rainmakers. So when you get development in June, and that's what this would be, this is the map historically of June development, you see, you know, a possibility of a rain-making system, but usually very little issues with surge or with wind. So that would be a best-case scenario, truth be told. And that is historically what the month of June looks like. So, guys, we'll be back next Wednesday with a DPL Plus. I think Kyle's going to be here because it's the day before the NFL draft. So Kyle's going to give his draft preview, and we'll be back on Thursday night talking again about the weekend. But look, for the next 6 weeks, you guys have any ideas or suggestions on things that we can talk about or people that we can interview? Feel free, because what you're looking at right now is what we're going to be looking at for the next 6 weeks. Sunny, hot, drought conditions, and probably brush fires. That is where we are. And then once June hits, typically the tropics get going and we start to see our rainy season. Streamers, thanks for watching. Have a great night. We'll see you on Thursday night. So streamers are gone. Going to go watch, I guess, the rest of the Bolts game. They're playing the stinking Panthers tonight, as they're known as. And I believe the Bolts can clinch home ice advantage if they were to win tonight. I think that's what it is. So that's about it, guys. Again, quiet. Feel free to offer some suggestions on interviews, on people, on whatnot, as we are in kind of a lull before the rainy season and the tropical season. So you guys have a great night, and we'll see you on Thursday night's edition of Dennis Phillips Live. See you guys.